All right, y'all, come on in. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone, and today we are covering live the ASAP Rocky trial. Now, I want to give you guys a chance to come on in here, and then I'm going to do a quick recap on the trial to date, what's been going on in the trial so far, so that if you are watching, you can follow along more easily. Specifically, I'm going to go ahead and give a recap on everything that's been happening so far, and then I'm going to reference it later in the live. So if someone joins the live later, just scroll back to the beginning and here's what you'll get. So, what's happened so far is we've had two witnesses so far. We've had a police officer who just happens to be Erica Jane from the Real House of Beverly Hills, her son. He's her son, not from Tom Giardi, the fraudster, but her son was someone else. So we've got that guy who's the cop, and then we've got the 911 caller. That's all that we've heard so far. But I want to break down something else that happened earlier this morning that if you're not an attorney, you may not have completely understood. So last week on the eve of trial, ASAP Rocky's defense disclosed that their defense was going to be that, yeah, that was ASAP with a gun. Because, like, duh, you can tell from the video footage, it was absolutely him. But they're going to confirm, yep, that was ASAP with a gun, but it was a prop gun. In other words, it was a fake gun that they claim that he took from the set of one of Rihanna's music.
It's a single page photograph, single photograph of someone with
So I'll continue while they're getting going. Other thing that was disclosed this morning is that ASAP Relly
showing you the
is
photographs
going
that
to
I
take
just
the
marked
stand.
as
But when he takes the stand,
do you
lawyers
recognize
for
the
the
intersection that
defense
you
are
see
not allowed
here
to refer to him as
of
an
Vista Del Mar and
extortionist,
Selma?
criminal, or anything else.
And is this
All
the
right.
intersection that you were talking about?
We're resuming now with the 911
All
color.
right. Can you actually see your apartment building in the background of this picture?
Yes.
Would it be the big building here to the left?
Yes.
And
Let
I
us know where
believe
you're
you
tuning
said
in.
before lunch that the apartment you were in was closer or farther away from Selma, so closer to this side of the building, right?
Yes, correct.
Up 7 stories high.
Yeah.
Now you had described looking out. Were you on the balcony or were you looking out of the window?
Both. I started out on the balcony, and then as things progressed, went inside to the windows.
So at the point where you saw them then walking down Argyle after the parking garage altercation, were you inside or outside of the apartment?
Outside.
And then when the men turned onto Selma, were you still inside or outside of the apartment?
We moved inside.
Okay. So at the point where you described you saw the men arrive here at Selma and Vista Del Mar, you were inside of your apartment.
Correct.
And what is the first thing that you recall seeing when you saw the men arrive at that intersection?
They were in this parking lot, and I couldn't hear anything, but it appeared that there was some kind of, I don't really know how to describe it. You could just tell that the vibe changed, and then they appeared to argue, and then there appeared to be a gun pulled, and then 2 shots fired. It appeared that someone fell down. There were some cars, so I didn't see what happened to that person, which is why I called 911. And then people ran off. Someone ran through the El Centro apartments, another scattered, and that at that point is kind of why I called, because I didn't see the third person, so I was like, I hope they're okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to kind of go step by step through what you just said. The first part of your statement that you said the words you used were the vibe changed, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you described there being an altercation. Did you see any physical contact between any of the 3 men?
No, it appeared to me that they were maybe exchanging words.
Okay.
I want to see if she saw what she thought were
The
gunshots. That's going to
man
be
with the
testimony from this.
well, how many of the men did you see produce?
I don't think prop guns, even
And
with the
what,
noise,
if anything, did you see that?
can make a flinch of a gunshot.
He appeared to be closer to the El Centro apartments, and it was more of like a jump back and pulled out a gun and then fired twice, or appeared to fire twice. And then everyone just, who the people that I could see,
Okay, that appeared to fire
You
20.
keep referencing the El Centro Apartments.
Yes.
Is it possible for you to point the direction you're talking about on this?
Who cares? Did she see a pow, a bang, a fire, or no? Get to the point.
These ones here.
Okay, so the direction that you're talking about that person taking on the street, can you kind of show us with the pointer on this exhibit?
It happened inside a parking lot, so this looks different to how it did when I lived there. So, but it appeared that they could ran through here towards Hollywood Boulevard.
Generally, are you saying though running away from Selma?
Yes.
Okay. And that the first person that you saw heading that direction was the man with the gun?
Yes. They kind of dispersed at the same time, and one went kind of through El Centro from what I could see, and the other one, it happened very fast.
Okay. You said it appeared that the man with the gun discharged the gun twice, were your words, correct?
Yes.
What about the situation
Yes. Get to
made
it.
you believe that he had discharged it?
The sound?
Could you actually hear 2 gunshots?
Yes.
Okay.
Y'all.
At the same time that you saw that man with the gun doing that jumping motion that you talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa. That's really good for ASAP defense. She's not saying she saw a flash. She heard the sound. Guns flash. Any true semi-automatic weapon. Remember, he's being charged with assault with a semi-automatic. So if he was assaulted with anything other than a semi-automatic, not guilty. Put your questions in the chat.
Is this the 911 call?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. There's no semi-automatic that doesn't flash. They about to get her on cross-examination. If done
I
right.
believe I do.
Yes.
He said it was the sound that made her think it was a gun shot, not a flash. Ooh, read. Now we getting into it. I can't believe you wore a brown suit to trial, but whatever. You definitely does. Hit that like button if you enter, guys. Thanks. It'll encourage YouTube to recommend my story. A brown suit boy. He look like he's fresh out of church. I like when my clients wear muted colors or like sweaters that make them look younger. Things that make them look not.
Everybody's got a transcript?
Trials. And they can cut the filler questions. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. We ain't trying to be here for 2 weeks. Unless it gets real juicy. So the witness on the stand currently is the 911 caller. I don't know how many 911 callers are going to call as witnesses, but this is a woman who just testified that the reason she thought they were gunshots is solely due to the sound. She saw the interaction as well, but she has not referenced seeing the flash of a gun. The only sound sounded like a gun, which is exactly what a prop gun would do. The other critical thing that happened this morning is that the defense's 2 witnesses, which are going to be, I believe, ASAP Rocky's manager and one of the
I live in the apartment on the corner of Argyle and Selma in Hollywood. And there's a student.
Did you see it? You just heard it?
Yes. No, like we watched it.
Okay, what did you see?
There were 4 men, and they were kind of fighting as they were walking along Argyle, and then they turned left on Selma. We heard yelling, and they started running, and they turned left into the back lot apartment for El Centro Apartments, and then someone pulled out, the guy in the black sweatshirt pulled out a gun,
Okay.
and he shot, and wearing a black, he was wearing black, a black hoodie.
All black.
I was on the 7th floor, so this is just what I could see from the picture.
Can you still see where you are, or do you see more in the end?
No, they all ran away in different directions. Two of them ran like towards the El Centro apartment.
Let's focus on the guy that had the hand, and you know which way he went.
I think he went to the left.
I do too, I just saw all of those.
Yeah,
Okay,
three
but-
went towards Hollywood Boulevard.
All right, but I really want to focus just on the guy that had the hand. That's what you said had the hand, I want to know which way he went. In the direction of travel, did he go east, west, north, south, toward what
I
apartment?
think he went north.
North, okay.
I think he
North.
went north towards Wine, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
That's where we kind of ran into past him.
okay. And do we know if anyone injured, anyone got hurt, need medical assistance?
We're not sure. I saw someone go down, but there's a building in the way, and I'm not sure if they ran away.
Okay, and what's your name?
My name is Leah.
Yeah. All right, and your phone number is
Yes.
and just to confirm from where you are, you can't see any victims down, you can't see anything in the explosion at all.
So she said,
No,
what?
I'm on the 7th floor, so there's a building that kind of blocks it.
Okay, all right, no problem, I'll go ahead and I'll say the same, but then with you, I'll go ahead and go, okay?
Alright, thank you.
But no, she never says she saw a
All right,
gunshot.
this Marcus Brown in the call. Have you ever heard that call before?
No.
Is that no?
That's no.
In the call, you described 4 men, correct?
Correct.
Fair to say that the day of this incident, as you're talking to the 911 operator, your memory was better because you were observing it?
Yes.
Okay. The only other question I want to ask you to clarify is, in the call, you said 3 of the men ran towards Hollywood Boulevard. And I put people's 1 back up on the screen. From the parking lot that you're describing, where would the men have gone to go to Hollywood Boulevard?
I assume up the middle of the apartments. This was a very long time ago.
Okay, that's fair. But I just mean generally, it would be from the parking lot here towards the top of the page, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you actually see the police arrive after you called 911?
Yes.
Did you go down and speak to the police while they were there?
No, I said I didn't want to speak to them when they called me back
Why was it that you didn't want
I
to
say the
speak
same
to the
thing.
police?
because I absolutely did not want to be involved. I was only calling in case.
Exactly. I hate when 911 is like,
Um,
can we call you back? No, don't call me for nothing.
I should ask too, the female voice that we hear on that call, do you recognize that to be you?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for you.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Mark Brown.
Yes, now we got it. Positive and
I'm
negative.
after-
Okay. Woohoo!
We have not.
In fact, yesterday, you refused to speak with the investigator from the tax, correct?
Correct.
She refused to
People's
speak to the
exhibit number
investigator.
7, which is right behind you. Where is your balcony in that?
She has that right to.
There. Can you see it from there?
Yeah.
I'm just, want to say, like a little bit. All right. You know what? Yeah, that's. Just walk around and just, before the circle like this.
Which certificate is that?
7.
7?
People 7. So you were up there.
This is the 911 caller
when
on
you
cross
observed
examination.
what you described, correct?
Correct.
And you said the vibe changed at one point?
The vibe changed.
That was from
With
up
the
there, that was the vibe shifted.
Yeah, they seem to move further away from one another.
Okay.
because they were mad. They were fighting.
And where did the person you said you thought the person went down, where did the person go down?
From,
Take your point.
oh,
Really
sorry.
punched one of the guys.
From where my balcony is,
And then
as
the
you
guy
can
was-
see, there are some buildings.
Yeah.
So most of what happened was in further towards the center of the car park where there were no cars. When someone went down, they went near the cars and that obscured my view.
He
Show us
texted
at that
me
point where all the,
whether or not he saw a gun shot.
So in the middle here and then towards this kind of wall where the cars are parked as well. That
so
kind of obscured a little bit at the end.
just, just focus on that for a person. So it's your testimony that what you observed from your 7th floor balcony,
Nope.
all occurred inside the car.
No, if it's a prop gun,
The
he
last
kills,
part, yeah.
period.
Okay.
Is it a prop gun?
It was scuffling.
Not a semi-automatic.
Sound of
It's
the
what
gun,
he
Yes.
charged with.
and 2 people, that someone going down.
Yes,
That was inside the car park?
yes.
Closer to the back wall of the car park where that tent is, that tent over there?
No, it was kind of in this area from what I could observe. It appeared to be
This area in what?
in the middle.
Middle of the park.
Yes.
Just so the record's clear, she first indicated
Welcome.
it's like a blue tent towards the back of the building. That's what counsel was asking about. The witness then indicated further up, which pointed the thing by a light pickup truck. Is that agree, counsel?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. But back at that point,
Yeah.
point that. So around here, we're talking about what's what you saw from the balcony here.
Directly in the middle of the area, and then we could see the tail end of the parked cars when it occurred. So that's what obscured the end when someone fell.
So they weren't over here on the street, right?
Honestly, from that vantage point, it could have appeared that street was part of it, but I thought it occurred in the car park. But again, I was on a 7th floor balcony.
Okay. So, aside from that, wait, who was with you? I heard no voice.
My ex-partner and my old roommate.
Two other people.
Yes.
What's their names?
We are waiting here.
Joachim Unge, and then another friend of mine who does not want to be identified.
Wait, who was the first one? Sorry.
Joachim Unge.
You can't.
He's Swedish.
Hey, I'm not gonna tell you which name. Girl, get your behind.
Joakim.
Joking. I'm about to Google him.
Unge.
That's one individual.
Yes.
And there was a second one.
Yes.
Oh, he's cute.
Second one,
She does not wish to be identified.
she told you that.
He's a
Yes.
software engineer. No, he's not cute, but he looks like fun.
She said why she doesn't wish to be identified.
Probably because she doesn't want to be doing what I'm doing
So,
right
for
now.
some reason. Okay.
Can you blame her?
By the way, we talked about it, and I heard on the 911 call, it said that there was a building that in part obstructed some of your view.
Yes.
correct? Okay. Did anything else interfere with your ability to perceive that night?
Potentially.
Potentially what?
It was a Saturday evening.
Okay, what else happened on that Saturday? Potentially
He's drunk.
impaired your ability to perceive.
So we were watching movies, and I had a hit of a joint.
You had what?
Oh,
I had a hit of a joint.
gone.
So, you
Get a
used
little hack.
the joint in marijuana?
Bless her heart.
You used marijuana that night before observing what you saw, correct?
Very lightly.
Very light.
Very likely.
Yeah. That must mean she doesn't have a medical marijuana
Did you
prescription.
know that
Otherwise,
to the police that night when they called you back?
No, I just said I didn't want to speak to police.
And I think you said on that 911 call, we just heard it, so I don't have to replay it for you, but, the apartment you were at the time was up on the 7th floor, right? I had that right, 7th floor,
Yes.
and it was on the corner of Argyle and Selma.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And let's put up people's one. Can I do that for you?
He's trying to establish whether she had a clean view of sight or not. And then he's going to pop her with the big question is, did she see a gunshot bang flash? Which a prop gun should not
Looks
do,
like it's
but a real gun
really-
will.
It's not past dispersion, it's the last few months.
It very well could.
We get more, yeah.
Great question. Sunny Days asked if the eyewitnesses said they're under the influence of Hadley, can their statement actually be used? Yes, but the jury gets to take that into consideration as the jury decides to what extent they're going to give her testimony credibility. Great question. She said she smoked a joint. And of course, she said only a joint. We all know.
So that's, you still have 4 people, so that's a little tricky. So just straight percent, that's people's one, correct? That's what you saw before, it's math line, right? Miss Mark Brown.
Yes.
So, before hearing what you believe to be a gunshot or 2 gunshots, you saw people fighting in the street.
Having an altercation, yes.
Um,
But I did say that part of it was obscured by the top of the car park's roof.
Matter of fact, what you just said on that 911 call was that there were 4 men and they was kind of fighting as they were walking along Argyle, and then they turned upon themselves, correct?
Yes, correct.
And that was at the time.
Yes,
That was-
it had just happened.
Right, so your recollection obviously would have been much better.
Yes. I have not, the first I've heard of this again was literally a week and a half ago, so
Oh,
you can
wow.
excuse me for being a little shady on the
Oh,
details.
no. It's normal, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously.
That implies they thought they'd have a deal and she
But-
probably wouldn't have to testify.
What you said back then, on that 911 call, would have been accurate,
Yes,
right? To the
Yes.
best of your ability.
yes,
Despite what you have.
That like button, y'all.
After you said those 4 men were kind of fighting, walking along Argyle, they turned left onto Selma.
Yep, Mr. Singer.
After that happened, you saw these people turn left onto Selma Avenue, right?
yes,
And at that time, you heard yelling. According to your 911, right?
okay,
And then you saw people starting to run. According to the 911, correct?
yes, correct.
And according to your 911 call, only after you heard the yelling and saw people start to run, you saw what you believed to be a gun, correct?
Correct.
And you told the police that after seeing someone pull out the gun, he shot.
Yes, correct.
And to be clear, that happened after the people turned left from Selma Avenue.
Correct.
And the street they turned left onto before you heard the shot was East Belmont.
I wasn't sure what the street name was, I just knew that there was like a car park there, but yes, if according to that map, yes.
Assuming that map is right. East
Correct.
Belmont, right. Obviously, from your 7-4 valve, you didn't see a bullet or anything come out of that gun, right? You just heard a sound.
I saw flashes,
Okay.
but I heard shots, I saw flashes, but obviously you can't see from that.
Correct.
She did
And
flash it.
obviously you didn't
I don't
see
think a prop gun has
anyone
power,
get hit.
y'all.
Particular,
Let me
you thought you saw someone go down, right?
Yeah, I saw someone go down, I didn't know if they'd been hit or not, and that's why I called that one.
And you didn't know, by the way, I think you said on the record here today, your testimony today, again, I know it was several years later, it appeared someone may have had a gun involved, but you're not sure because you were on the 7th floor. You both saying that this morning, in your direct testimony?
Was that when you were when they were talking about underneath the parking structure, or in the actual open? Because if we're talking about when there was the altercation on Argyle, then I couldn't have been sure because it was under a roof and I was on the 7th floor. But when it was in the car park, it appeared to be a gun. Because otherwise, why would it make noise and flash?
Okay. Now, it's your testimony that you saw someone going down with the incident.
Oh, I'm so
Your
sorry.
testimony that you saw someone going down.
Yes.
All right, according to you, you think the person who was shot was wearing blue clothing.
I said that in the 911 call, As of this moment, I do not recall.
Yes,
Yeah.
let me be clear, Ms. Walker, no one's suggesting you should, as you sit here today, remember exactly what you saw back in November.
Right.
I'm basing my questions and your answer on your 911
Yes.
call, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So what's in
Sorry.
that 911 call is really what we should be relying on, right?
Yes.
Your Honor, that's an objectionable question.
Well, let me ask you this, is there anything in your 911 call in which to correct today?
No, there's not. I have been as accurate as possible with the time that has passed.
We only got-
I'm just here to give testimony and then leave, hopefully. Yes.
You will be able to do. Anyway, according to your 911 call, you thought that person who was shot was running through the door, right?
According to my 911 call, yes.
And then you said, believe all the people ran in different directions.
According to my 911 call, yes.
And you can't be sure, I guess, the direction you believe the person was going, right?
According to the 911 call, yes.
At one point in your 911 call, you said you weren't even sure if the people ran away, right?
Correct.
And then when did they call you back? Is that what happened?
They did call me back, yes.
Okay. And basically there were officers at the scene at that point already?
I can't recall if the officers were already at the scene, but I do know that they were on their way.
Okay. And that's when the 911 operator asked if you would meet the officers
Yes,
and you declined.
yes,
Right?
correct.
All right, thank you. Mark Brown, what was it?
Ms. Novak, anything? No further questions. All right, Ms. Martin Brown, thank you for coming in. You are next witness.
The next witness is,
All right, let's see who'll be next. I wish and I hope that it's Relly. Oh, y'all, I hope the next, so they're going to call the next witness. We're done with this 911 call. So the value of her testimony is she talked about how, in fact, she saw the fighting, she saw the gun pulled out, she heard gunshots, and she saw the flash. So while we're waiting, I want to share this. I did look this up real quick, guys, which is I asked, do prop guns make a flash? Because on the 911 call, she never referenced seeing a flash, and in direct testimony, no flash. But when talking to the defense attorney, she did reference a flash. It does say here on Google, prop firearms are either real guns or specifically made to be blank firing only. Blank ammunition has a cartridge that, when fired, produces realistic effects such as noise, smoke, a muzzle flash, and recoil. They contain gun power but do not have a bullet. So, I was wrong before when I said, oh, she should not have seen a flash. Apparently, there are prop guns that do have flashes. So what is clear is this was a brilliant defense to drop on the eve of trial, because now the prosecutors are literally shaking in their booties. They're shaking in their penny loafers because they don't want to look a damn fool. But they also were not at all prepared to meet with the defense of, yeah, I had a gun, but it was a fake gun. And someone asked earlier, could he be charged with, he's currently charged with having assault with a semi-automatic. Could he be charged with any other form of assault? And the answer is no. He was indicted on the semi-automatic charge. If they were going to also add any other charge, it would have needed to be called prior to when they did, prior to now, basically. By the time they were informed of the defense, it was too late to amend and add any other charges because it was the eve of trial, meaning just before trial. Oh, Miss Lee, you think whether he should have taken a plea deal? Okay, we're going to talk about that on the next break. Miss Lee, it said, what I just read on Google said prop guns have a flash. I was shocked by that too, but I don't know. According to, they better have a ballistics expert. I know that the defense better call a ballistics expert to support their position, or I don't see how they can. No, there's some ASAP Relly is in the courtroom. He's supposed to be the star witness. So usually with the defense, they generally like to start with the star witness somewhat close to the beginning, usually after they call a cop or two. So let's see if we'll get ASAP Relly, the victim, on the stand today. Hoping he's next. Oh, they're gonna get him on the cross-examination. Interesting fun fact about ASAP Relly is ASAP Relly's the alleged victim. He claims that the gunshot grazed his knuckles. He filed a civil lawsuit. I think he's seeking $30 million from ASAP Rocky. They had photos of his injuries, which honestly look like minor injuries that you get from being in a fist fight. But interestingly, his lawyer is Johnny Depp's lawyer, Camila, or whatever her name was, who represented Johnny Depp in the defamation trial. So ASAP Relly's got some strong representation in his civil case, and they're representing him in the civil case on a contingency fee basis, meaning no upfront money for him, and they only get paid if he wins. Who is next? What we got? Put your questions in the chat. I am happily trying to answer them, especially in our breaks like this.
Right across from you, please.
All right, Mr. Singer, you said that's a blank bullet,
Just right about there. Raise your right hand for us.
but
please.
a blank bullet
Thank
is
you.
gonna crack him. Like
So state
a gun
that
that
the
takes
testimony
blank.
may give the cause nothing
It's-
for this court. So the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Oh,
the truth, so help us God.
It's a chubby white guy.
Please take a seat.
That's
Stand right over there.
Oh, that's him. That's him, guys. ASAP Relly. Oh, shoot. Now what he got a oh.
And tell us
Oh
your
my God.
first name.
Okay.
Say-
Action
tell us your
time.
name,
Put
then
that
spell
light.
it for the record.
Terrell Emerald, TERRELLEPHROM.
No, station. Try to speak it.
We'll talk about the strategy some more.
All right,
You know,
Mr.
you're right.
Roman?
Yes,
Where's yours?
you're right. This is the victim. This is the star witness himself. Everything relies on him. I'm not going to interject during these breaks much, only to quietly clarify points as needed. He looks like this has weathered him. Oh, bless his heart.
Morning, or good afternoon. Do you know the man seated at the table in the tan jacket?
Yes,
What's his name?
Rocky.
Identify
Rakim Mayor.
And do you know him by any other nicknames?
ASAP Rocky. Lago.
How did you first meet him?
In high school, we grew up together.
How old were you, do you think, when you first met him?
I like 17, 18.
When you first met him, was he a well-known famous rapper?
No.
Want to jump ahead to November 6th, 2021, the day of this incident. Do you remember approximately, or do you remember how old you were that day?
Excuse me?
How old were you on the day that this happened? Do you remember?
Probably 33, 32.
Okay.
3 years ago.
Would it be fair to say you knew him about maybe 15 years at that point?
Yes.
Over the 15 years that you knew him, were the two of you friends?
Yeah.
Can you describe the closeness of your relationship to him?
The whole 15 years?
Yeah, over the course of your relationship, sort of how it started, and then how close you were throughout your 15 years.
Well, I mean, we started a collective ASAP, which is a bunch of, how would you call it, like a bunch of people from New York that got different down nerves.
It's okay. Just take a minute. Take a couple deep breaths. The relationship that you're describing in high school, were the two of you close friends? Like, would you see him every day, or was this sort of a friendship where you knew of him but didn't really know him?
No, we knew each other. We knew each other. We knew each other very well. I mean, it was probably like 6 or 7 of us. Probably like 4 of them was rappers.
Do you think you'd see him every day?
Up until he got famous, yeah.
Okay.
Like a little bit until he got famous.
How long do you think you knew him before? I know it's hard to pick down exactly when someone becomes famous, but about how long do you think you knew him before he became famous?
7 years.
And over that 7 years, it was a regular occurrence that you would be with him almost every day, correct?
Yeah.
Would you describe him at that time, the beginning of your relationship, as someone that was like a brother to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you started to tell us about ASAP. What does ASAP stand for?
It means a lot of different things, but what we strive to prosper.
Were you a member of ASAP?
Yes.
Within ASAP, did you have a nickname that you went by?
Yeah, really.
Was that something that started when you were in high school?
Yeah.
What year of high school do you remember? Like, were you a junior, a senior?
Oh, it was like a
Did you know someone by the name of Elijah Elaine?
yes.
Was he also a member of ASAP?
Yes.
Did he have a nickname that he went by in ASAP?
ASAP Bills.
I'm going to ask Mark my next.
10.
He looks like he's having a tough life. Like he got rejected from Best Buy.
Do you recognize
What
the
and
person depicted here in People's 10?
Yeah.
And who's that?
Elijah.
Okay. Is it easier for you to refer to him as Elijah, Ills? How do you want to refer to him?
Bills.
Ills? Okay.
Mills.
Was he one of the kind of original members of ASAP?
Yeah.
How would you describe for the jury your relationship or your closeness with Elijah or Hills?
I mean, it was pretty good up until the incident.
Would you, up until the incident, would you have considered him a close friend of yours?
Yeah.
Was he someone that you would talk to on a regular basis?
Yeah, I talked to him the night before the incident. I was at his crib, his house actually.
Okay.
Yeah, like, we're 39 minutes in.
Would it fair to say, kind of up until the day of that incident, you've known him maybe approximately 15 years too? Do you know someone by the name of Jamel Phillips?
Yeah.
And is he also a member of ASAP?
Yeah.
What, if any, nicknames does he go by?
ASAP Bills.
My next pivot.
Is anybody having trouble with her? Everybody's okay? You're having some trouble?
Now, mind you, this current
Stephanie,
witness
try to
is suing
speak up a little bit.
ASAP Rocky for $30 million in a civil suit
Under People's 11-year.
from the alleged gun problem
Yes.
that
It's
Grace
a
is
one-page document, a single photograph, depicting 2 people.
and he's being represented by Camila Johnny Depp's lawyer.
Mr. Efron showing you the person on the left in this photograph. Do you recognize who that is?
Watch his hand gesture.
Who's that?
See how he moves his hand frequently.
And kind of like the same question with Hills, what's the easiest way for you to refer to him?
I was never really that cool with him.
No, I mean, as we're talking about the different people involved in this, how do you want me to refer to him? Do you want me to call him 12? Do you want me to call him
Yeah.
Janelle?
12.
Okay,
Okay,
12.
he does have talk.
And the person who's next to him in this photograph, do you recognize that person?
Yeah, that's Rocky.
Let's see if he uses his hands at all today when he's talking.
You said regarding 12 that you were not as close to him, correct?
Is that yes?
Yes.
How would you put it in your own words, how would you describe your relationship with 12 prior to the incident?
I mean, there was never no problems, but I never wasn't that cool with him. Like, really didn't interact that much.
Would you,
He wasn't
saw
like
him
a-
somewhere?
He came kind of like later, so like I really wasn't like chilling with him or chilling with anybody who came after the fact. It was ASAP.
Okay. So what you're describing is kind of you and the defendant and Ills had known each other longer, and then 12 came after that core group was formed.
Yeah, so me, Jabari, Ills, and Rocky pretty much started ASAP.
Okay.
Anybody else who came after, if they wasn't like genuinely like trying to better themselves or do something other than like fooling around, kind of distance myself.
Okay.
Like,
Is that you mentioned the name Jabari? Who's Jabari?
yeah, what do you mean by that?
What's his name?
Jabari. That's the name. ASAP Barber.
Okay. Does he have any other nicknames to go by?
Young Lord.
Would he also have been considered part of the ASAP collective that you described?
Oh yeah.
Within that collective of members of ASAP, were all the people that were members, were they all rappers?
No.
What were some of the other pursuits that members of ASAP would also pursue?
Fashion, producing, anything involved with like culture, really.
What were you a rapper?
No.
What was your contribution to the group?
I was a manager. Not of ASAP, but I created my own company.
What was the name of your company?
Shut up.
And when you say you were a manager, what does that mean?
I was scout for talent, like I had producers, I had artists. I helped actual ASAP members with stuff.
So the managing that you're talking about is all related to the music industry.
Yes.
And you're saying you would try to find people who are talented at different areas within music, like rapping or producing, correct?
Yeah.
And would you try to help get them projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So he's a music manager. He wasn't one of the rappers in the group.
Okay.
I bet money gets tight.
The
Or is
person that you refer to as Jabari, did you also refer to him as Bari?
Yeah, Barber.
So if we say Jabari or Bari, we're talking about the same person.
Yes.
That person, Jabari, how close were you to him?
I would say we go to
Was he someone that you would see on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Did you have problems in the time that you knew with him specifically? Is that no?
No.
Okay. Were you with Jabari the day before this incident on November 5th of 2021?
Yes, I was.
That day, November 5th, where in the country were you with Jabari?
We actually missed a flight. We were supposed to go to Chicago, but we was in LA.
Okay. So the whole time you're with him, you're in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you live in Los Angeles at the time?
No.
What state did you live in November of 2021?
New York.
How long have you been in Los Angeles on November 5th, 2021? So if you can tell us the exact date that you flew in, that's fine, or if you can just give us an estimate of how many days you've been in Los Angeles.
probably flew in, I think the 5th
So that day.
or the 4th, I don't know. Like, our artist was in town, so he was recording. So I don't know, it was a while ago. I'll have to look
Let's
at
see,
text.
who are some of the artists that we represent?
Okay. Would that refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Okay. May I approach you? Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have to ask.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah.
Okay. So what days were you specifically in Los Angeles with your artist while he was recording?
Let me see that again, what date is it?
What did you
I was
attempt
new,
to?
I didn't look at it.
Hold on. What did you attempt to refresh recollection?
The Texans.
Is it a screenshot?
Yes. I wasn't gonna mark it as an exhibit.
You don't have to. It's just used to refresh his recollection. It doesn't have to be an exhibit.
Let me see the date.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what days were you in Los Angeles with your artist?
Probably got here the third day.
Okay.
Probably filmed the 3rd. Cause I got on the Airbnb. That's pretty close to my hotel.
It's really got to keep your voice. Try to, your voice is soft, so try to speak into it.
So what I think you're saying is you arrived in Los Angeles, to the best of your recollection, November 3rd of 2020, correct?
Yeah.
And your artist, the artist that you were managing was recording music the 4th, 5th, and 6th, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How did you get to Los Angeles on the 3rd?
What do you mean?
And you're from New York, how did you get here?
Oh, flew.
When you say you flew, did you fly on a private plane or on a commercial jet?
On a Delta.
Did you have to go through airport security?
Yeah.
Okay, you said you met up with Jabari on November 5th in Los Angeles, correct?
Yeah.
Do you recall where you met him?
When I first met Jabari,
Yeah. Well, I
when I
mean,
first linked up,
that day, November 5th, where did you meet him?
in his apartment, in his house.
And is that in Los Angeles?
Is that yes?
Yes.
While you were with Jabari that day, did you overhear a conversation between Jabari and the defendant, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we was on our way back from the airport, and he got a call from Ronnie.
So the defendant called Jabari,
Yeah.
and can you describe for the jury how it was that you were able to hear the defendant on that call?
We was in the back of the SUV, and we got a call from Rocky. He put the phone on his stomach. So he was laying back in the truck, and he put his phone on his stomach. He just was like listening, like talking to him.
Was the
I'm in the
phone
other chair.
was the phone on speaker?
Yeah.
So you could hear both sides of the conversation.
Yeah.
What was the nature of the call between Jabari and the defendant?
It started off first, I believe, like Rocky was trying to get Barry to come to this complex town, Kenya University thing. And Jabari declined, and the conversation got kind of weird. Like, and then Jabari said it was something like,
Can y'all hit the over
"Oh,
100?
I see you got bills and 12 on the jet." And it became like an inside joke because Rocky hasn't hit them, and it just became an inside joke, kind of. So then Rocky's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I got my niggas with me, boom, 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 whatever." And then instantly after that, he says, "Fuck that nigga Relly." And I'm like, I'm sitting in the back of the chair, and I kind of get up, and I'm like, and then Barbie like stops me. He's like, and then I'm listening, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't fuck with." Can I say what I want to say?
Yes.
Say it.
So he pretty much was like, "Oh, I don't fuck with that nigga. He mad emotional. like this, that, and the third, pretty much. It was so long ago, but it was, and the contents of that. And then Jabari was like, what you mean you don't fuck with him? And he's like, just don't fuck with him. I don't like that nigga. Like this, that, and the third. And after he said something about like, so long ago, but he was like, I'll beat him up or something like that. So, you want to keep going?
Let me stop you. You said that you keep saying he said. Were those all things that the defendant said specifically?
Yeah.
So he was the one that said he doesn't fuck with you, right?
Yeah.
Had you said anything at that point in the car that would have alerted him to the fact that you were actually in the car?
No, he didn't know I was there.
Did
I wanted to say something, but Ari was like,
So, oh,
like how his
a
hands
passenger in the
inside,
car
like
with
how
a
big,
flag
I
on speaker.
was just listening.
Relly heard
I'm
ASAP
assuming
Rocky
that Jabari didn't tell him I'm in the car with.
Oh, no.
Okay, so as far as you knew, the defendant had no idea that you were in the car.
Not yet.
Oh, Missy like some girls.
Other than the specific things that you've already said he said about you, is there anything else that you can recall that the defendant said about you on the call?
Not at the moment. It was like 3 years ago. So like, I got anxiety.
Oh, he has anxiety now. I bet he does. The whole world is watching. I will too.
In the past, have you said that on that call the defendant said, referring to you, he's a bitch?
ASAP called him a B.
At that moment, on November 5th of 2021, were you aware of tension between you and at the point that the defendant is saying those things about you on the phone, were you also feeling tension in your relationship with him?
I mean, it's kind of always been like that. So it's really hard having a relationship with Rocky.
Can you explain that?
I mean, going to tell me my personal experience, or
Yes.
I feel like he's fake.
How so?
He lies a lot. Like, I don't see him, so it's like, how are we gonna have a relationship? You know what I mean?
Is there anything specific that you can think of?
Yeah, like my companies or just anything, like overall. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had this one job I call him Mr. 6-month man. Because I would see him every 6 months. You know what I mean? But then when you come around, it's like, it's fake. You know what I mean? Because what are we supposed to be in this ASAP thing for? So, smoking mirrors.
Aww.
Did you actually voice your displeasure
Oh,
to
yeah.
him?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Through text messages. But nothing ever like threatening him or anything, just mostly telling him like, you gotta tighten up, this shit fake.
But you would text message him and say,
And he won't text me back. He would never text me back.
okay.
I'll probably see him and we'll have a conversation. He'll be like, oh bro, you emotional or something like that. And intense.
When he calls you emotional, you heard that as an insult to you, right?
Not really.
Okay, how did you take it?
Like he's trying to shoot me off. Like using that as like leverage to be like, not get business done, I guess.
All right, I want to direct your attention to the very next day, so November 6th, 2021, the day of this incident. Where were you staying at that night in Los Angeles?
Staying at the Lowe's Hotel.
Oh, he got a little bit of money.
And that evening, did you have any plans to meet up with the defendant at all?
No, I haven't spoken to him in months probably prior to that. I texted him, but he never answered me back.
You mentioned in your earlier answer that there was this event called Complex Con that week, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you said the defendant was actually performing at that concert series, right?
Yes.
Did you have plans to go with the defendant to Complex Con?
No. I wasn't on that jet. I didn't get no phone call, so why would I, you know what I mean?
So that's, I guess, what I'm asking you to explain. As far as Complex Con, you had no plans to go there, and certainly not to go with him.
Right.
Did you have plans to go with Ills or with 12?
No.
What was your business in Los Angeles at that time?
Right.
I'm an artist.
And if you can recall, what are the hours that you're working with your artists?
I'm booked pretty much all day sessions.
All day, all night.
We was finishing up a mixtape for, I believe one of these labels wanted me to like show them like something like better than, cause I had a couple songs, so they just wanted to see like a compilation of the work that I'm doing.
Okay. How long? You're saying hours, but how many hours would these sessions?
I don't know. I would be in and out. I would never stay in the studio that long.
Okay.
Yeah, his butt hurt for sure.
At around 9:23 that evening, did you receive a series of calls and text messages from the defendant, Ills, and 12?
Oh yeah.
At the time that you were receiving those communications, what were you doing?
I was sleeping.
Mark my next exhibit on
Well,
here. It is a single photograph, a screenshot of a.
Tasha said, this guy looks like a jealous type to me. His feelings are hurt. He gets butt hurt. Remember, this man currently has a civil suit against A$AP Rocky for, I believe it's $30 million, being represented by Johnny Depp's attorneys that won him the
no,
lawsuit
understood.
for defamation. Remember, this guy has a $30 million lawsuit against A$AP Rocky for the alleged gunshots that he said he grazed his knuckles. $30 million. He's being represented on contingency basis.
Yeah.
And what is this?
This is my whole house.
And is this a photograph that you specifically took? Like a screenshot?
Yeah.
And what is reflected in your photo here?
What do you mean?
Okay, all these numbers are in red. Does that mean anything to you?
Miss Cole?
And who were the people that you were missing calls from? Starting at the top of the page.
Rocky. That's a larger number. That's 12 Elijah, Rocky.
Yeah, I believe she was Rocky and
And did you receive those missed calls kind of in quick succession? Meaning like right after each other?
I don't know. I woke up to FaceTime call from Rocky. So then after I noticed I had all those missed calls, I didn't even like wake up and notice the calls.
or how come he hadn't made it to wherever they were at? Rocky was trying to help him get money by paying him to be part of the entourage on Rocky's side. Because he was complaining that Rocky was the only one getting money, and
Prior to you waking up, did you receive any text messages from the defendant?
Yeah.
So you're saying you received a bunch of missed calls while you were asleep. You woke up, you answered your phone, talked again, and then you kind of went back and looked at your phone afterwards. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And that's when you saw you had a bunch of missed calls from him and Elijah for 12. Did you also have text messages from him?
Yeah.
You mark my next premise. I may approach people's 13.
$30 million in facilities.
Just you recognize what the Cedars?
Yeah.
And just in general, what is this photograph?
This is a screenshot.
It's
Of your
super
phone.
public.
You say yes?
Yes.
And is this screenshots, text messages that you received from him that day?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yes.
say yes?
Yes.
All right. Every time you say that, or he's going to
Just
ask you.
look.
Yeah, but if you can, try to say yes.
Yes.
So there are 3 messages at the top that are gray. Are those from you or
I
those
can't
from
believe this. So him excited yes to criminal court.
And if you would read them one after another, what they say.
Where you at? Question mark. Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls.
Thank you.
So ASAP Rocky came in today. He didn't show up for the concert with things. So that's what the next messages from Rocky. Allegedly. We'll say.
When he texted you, specifically the phrase "let's get to it," did you know what he was referring to?
I mean, I had kind of an idea that he went to probably like fight or something, or like just argue or something.
What gave you that idea?
The day before this conversation.
So you still have that conversation that he had with Jabari in your head at the time that you read that text?
Yeah, that conversation spoke volumes because I never heard him talk like that. And over the whole, the years I know him, told him a bunch of times, if you ever had a problem with me, let me know. Because shit's not happening up.
Okay. When you said that you thought he wanted to fight you, what do you specifically mean by that phrase, fight? Do you mean physical violence? Do you mean an argument?
Yeah, like an argument, maybe like a physical, I don't know. I don't know what he was saying.
Did, at that point, was you wanting to have a physical fight with him? Those text messages that you read from him, when you read those, did you perceive those to be aggressive towards you?
Yeah.
Now you said also when you woke up, you talked to him on Facebook, correct?
Yeah.
What was your conversation with him about?
He was just more so like, okay, so he was like, where you at? And I'm like, huh? And then he's like, where are you? Like, I'm like, go down. And I'm like, instantly, I don't know, for some reason, I just told him, W. You know what I mean? And then he's like, no, you're not, that's a bum ass hotel. So I'm like, and then he's like, show me where you at. So then I got up to bed and I kind of, the Lowe's Hotel is on Hollywood. The W is in Hollywood. So everything kind of looked the same. So when I showed him outside, I think that was good enough to the point he believed I was at the W.
Okay. When you said you received this call, were you fully awake even when you started talking to him?
No, I was still asleep.
And you said he first asked you where are you at, and you said, I think you said
Yeah, I said
And then you said he broke it down, where you at?
No, where are you? Like, where you at? Where are you? Like, kind of like with force the second time. Like,
okay, that was even my question. What was his tone of voice when he said where are you?
okay, so the first one was like kind of regular. After I said whatever. The second one was just like, wait, like you know it was a problem. Like, where are you? Like, where you at? Like, you know what I mean?
And you said that after you told him you were staying at the W, he called your room a bum-ass room.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I guess it's within like the W.
Like not as nice. how did you receive it?
Yeah, I was still asleep. I didn't care. I just wanted to show him outside the window to figure out what the hell is going on. You know what I mean? We was link up, like what's going on? What's the purpose of this call?
At the moment you're talking to him, did you have any idea why you wanted to meet up with him?
No.
Okay, you said you showed him Hollywood Boulevard outside of your hotel. What was the next thing that happened in your hotel after that?
I think he said he'd be right there. And then that's when I text Elijah, like, because then I'm looking at my phone and I'm noticing I got all these text messages. And like I said, Jamel text me too. He called me, but I don't like Jamel. So I like ills. I know ills, you know what I mean? So I text ills. I'm like, what's going on? Pretty much.
Hold on.
I don't remember exactly what I said from that day, because it was 3 years ago, but I hit ills to like kind of confirm like what's going on.
Yeah, and that's fine. At that point, did you know that 12B and Hills were with the defendant?
What do you mean? Like,
Did you know that the
come in?
defendant were together?
Like, come to link me?
No, I mean in general.
Oh yeah, because it was on a plane.
Okay. And so when you received the messages from Hills and from 12B, you understood at that time that they were with you, right?
Yeah.
After your conversation let me clarify that when you say you're on FaceTime, was that FaceTime that also had video associated with it?
Yes.
So he could see you through the phone, right?
Yes.
After your conversation with him, did the two of you make plans to meet up?
I mean, I didn't really make plans. It was kind of like wake up. I wanted to, though we just didn't talk, and like really hash things out. Because this happened before, not like this, but like when we talk shit out, you know what I mean? And like I said, I called him Mr. 6 months, and I haven't seen him in a very long time. So he hasn't read the room, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah.
You said in the past when you had problems with him, you felt comfortable just expressing that to him verbally and talking to him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And was that sort of something that had happened on multiple occasions where the two of you would talk and work out your problems verbally?
Yes, Jackson.
You said that again?
Even the witness.
Was that something that had happened multiple times where the two of you would talk and work out your problems, or was that something that only happened once before?
I mean, if we worked out our problems, we wouldn't be here. So this was an ongoing thing, just like open and injury, like promises or anything, you know what I mean? But I didn't care really. I was always working towards my goals at the end of the day, but I wanted to accomplish the situation.
I guess what I'm trying to listen or ask you about is, have you had problems in your relationship with the defendant prior to this?
I'm gonna say problem. I don't know. Me personally, I never had a problem with him, but I think he had a problem.
Okay. You say, I think the words that you used to describe what
No,
you
I actually do know he had a problem with me because in the text message, he says that I got him cut, like I let him get cut. And that happened years, a year or something. So that means you're holding on a grudge and something I didn't even had nothing to do with.
Okay, we'll get there. Hold on.
I feel like that was our whole relationship, like just weird grudges.
Okay. Are you saying that you felt like he had a problem with you and you didn't have a problem with him? Is
Yeah,
that?
of course I had a problem with him.
But you had sent in messages in the past where you had expressed, your disappointment. You already said that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So there
And I
was
think we have
some-
those text messages. The text messages, I always still like, how do you say it, like complimenting him or big him up for his success. At the same time, like you're doing bad.
Okay.
But in the same text messages, like I never was like just straight out like, oh, fuck you. I never said fuck you. I probably did, but it was like real.
Said I probably did.
In a sense, like love, like I don't know, some, you know. But I never really got responses back from it.
I'm trying to understand, if you can, what your state of mind is as you're going to this meeting with him, or as you said, to link up.
After you just heard it,
My state of mind?
Yeah.
now y'all about to meet.
I was feeling real confident because, like I said, I don't think he read the room. I'm doing really good for myself. So I felt like this is a time for me and him to like actually come to common ground and be like, fuck the bullshit. You know what I mean? Because what are we doing here? Like you talk to everybody else like that. You're not talking to me like that. Nor am I accepting of this. You know what I mean?
When you say read the room, what do you mean by that phrase?
Yeah.
Because why would you do what you did if you're not say read the room is because like you're not reading the room, like you're not knowing who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking you could just he knows of me, but he didn't know what I was up to. So you're probably thinking I'm a bum or I'm not like this person, somebody you could just have your way with.
Did you feel personally like your music career was becoming more successful?
Yeah, for sure. I was going in and out of the label meetings.
Would you say at that point that was essentially the height of your career in the music business? Have you been more successful? Okay.
Yeah. In the music industry, yeah. Yeah, I was at my highest I've ever been because I finally figured it out. I figured out how to make money back into everything. So I made my own way.
Sorry, and I don't mean to talk over you. My apologies for that.
Mm-hmm.
You said that going into this meeting, you were confident. Is that what you mean by?
It wasn't even a meeting. I wouldn't even call it a meeting. It was just like I'm linking up with Rocky. I haven't seen it do it in dumb long.
Yeah.
Like anytime you want, like you're gonna go link him. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't see the dude.
What does that phrase "link with him" mean to you? Are you saying something less, more informal than?
Like if, for instance, if we had a problem, I felt like it could have been hashed out the moment he seen me, but instead, it was like it got nasty. You know what I mean?
Oh, you got nasty. You got another. Oh.
He didn't read the room. He didn't take a second to think.
Drop all the Urban Dictionary terms that should be looked up in the chat.
Where is it specifically that you ultimately looked up?
Well, when I was walking from Lowe's, because it's kind of far away, I was texting Elijah, and then I told him I'm like next to Trader Joe's or something because I know they're with the W. So then when I don't really know the streets, so top of
I don't know what they were
the
saying.
W that I just instead of being on the side of W, I cross the street for some reason, and then see Rocky walking. Well, I don't see him yet. Walking down the block, then I hear him. I hear him first before I even see him in his video.
Okay. Is there any kind of landmark
He did
in
say
the area where you ultimately
I thought I was heard.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
meaning you're saying I don't remember what the streets were called. That's okay, but was there something on the street where you met him that you could say we were outside of this?
Oh, it was directly across from the entrance to the W. It was a parking lot, like where we stopped at. I don't.
I'm gonna mark the next one.
14.
I'm showing you it was 14. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yeah.
And do you see the entrance of the parking lot that we were talking about?
Yeah, so I was walking like right here.
There's a pointer. See a
Police said I see that. Let's get the picture.
So I was walking on this block, coming straight here, and he was like somewhere right here, and then I heard him. You want me to check it out?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just asking, do you recognize this area?
Oh yeah,
And is that specifically the parking lot that you met him in front of?
yeah.
What he's describing is how they're
Um,
about to link up, and ASAP's about to pull his gun on him for being crazy. This is the man. This witness just said he had a bigger career than ASAP, even though nobody knows who he is to this day. Couldn't say his name. I think his name is Effort. His last name is Effort. Terrell Effort. He also manages artists, and no one knows who they are either.
you
And
said
mind
you
you,
don't
hand
know the
injuries
streets
was paid
in that
to
area very well, but
and I believe it's the right.
did you know where Hollywood Boulevard was?
Yeah.
And were you at all close to Hollywood Boulevard?
Yes, the main like strip.
Would that have been like directly above where you
Yeah,
met
yeah.
him? All right, I'm going to show you number 2.
Yeah, they have the
Where
right
Hollywood Boulevard is labeled here at the top.
link.
You see that?
Let's see what now.
Is the screen in front of you working? Just so you don't.
No, it's not.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Along the top of this page, I know there's a lot going on here, but you see, you recognize this to be Hollywood Boulevard at the top?
I'm not from LA, so
Okay.
I wouldn't open the really
For
know.
sure.
That's how we do.
Yeah, ASAP was like Tommy Hilfiger model, designer model for multiple.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
I believe it's not.
Thank you. The street that you came down was next to the W Hotel, correct? I know it's not marked on here, but
Yeah, where's the hotel?
did you come down the street that was right next to the W Hotel?
Yes.
And you came from Hollywood Boulevard down the street?
Yeah. Because I traveled from the locals, so I took off Hollywood Boulevard.
Did you walk pretty much Hollywood Boulevard the entire way?
Yeah.
And you said then at the W, then you turned and came down the street next to the.
Yeah, Argyle.
Okay. If you don't remember the name of the street, that's fine. Just you can tell us by the landmarks. But what you're saying is you came Hollywood Boulevard to the W, and then you turned down a small street that was next to the W.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And I believe you said in your prior answer that the street that you were on had the entrance to the valet area of the W, correct?
No, I wasn't on the side of the W.
No, I'm saying that street is where you would enter the W.
Oh yeah.
Point, please.
And but you said you were specifically on the other side of the street from the W.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the
Yeah, the crossing man.
parking garage.
Just
This, you described it before on People's 14.
look how annoyed this
Coming,
this turn bored.
This way,
Look at
so
mom.
from the lower left-hand corner, towards the top right-hand corner of the page, in that direction, on the sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
So would the W have been on the opposite side of the
Oh
street?
my God, who cares? The side of the street W is on. Who cares? You're not at the W. You're at the Lowe's.
And as you were walking down that street, what was the next thing that you remembered that caught your attention?
I didn't see nobody. I heard Rocky though. I heard him say, "What now, pussy?" But
Ooh.
it's been so long, so I don't. What now, pussy? Or what now? Something along that.
What now?
He was like, "What now?"
What now?
And what was his tone of
Right.
voice?
So what now?
He was loud. Like that's what caught my attention. And then I seen Elijah because, and then Jamel, and then that's when I was walking. Because I was continuing walking. I wasn't like stopping or waiting around anywhere. I was already walking. They was already there. So
Where?
I guess they was already on Argyle because they was calling me still. I was calling me to see where I'm at. Mind you, I was far. My hotel's far. So when I got there, I'm walking down the block. I wasn't like waiting, calling him or anything. I'm still en route, pretty much. So I hear him as I'm en route still, and then that's when we meet up and we see the altercation.
But you're saying the first thing that caught your attention was his voice, correct?
Yeah.
Boy.
Saying, "What now, pussy?"
Yeah.
What
when I-
now?
And it
Push
was
it.
loud.
Yeah.
Was it aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay, after that, hearing that, did you see him?
Yeah. Truthfully, it was all like a movie. It was like literally
How
like
so?
a movie.
Explain that.
Just the way he was walking, the whole thing, like the hoodie, like he
Yeah,
just caught me off guard.
what's the thing?
You know what I mean? Like it was no time to talk, no time for nothing.
Right. These people don't know what you're talking about with the hoodie, though. Can you explain what you mean when you say with the hoodie?
Oh, because he had a hoodie on.
We got the
Up over his head?
Yeah.
Okay. And was he walking straight towards you?
Yeah.
Was, you said Hills and 12 you were with him. How close were they to him?
Oh, they was right behind him.
Were they facing you too?
My eyes was on Rocky at that point. Like when he said, "What now, pussy?" I was like, he's right there. You know what I mean?
You're focused on him.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see in your periphery that the two other guys are
Yeah, 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 for sure.
close.
Okay, is that yes?
Yes.
Do you know why?
Run out, girl.
See this lady right here, she's a word
That was a good
and she's taking down every word that
No,
everybody
he's
says.
like really nervous.
No,
So I'm like,
it's okay, a lot of people get nervous. I just wanted, I didn't want you to think I'm messing with you when I say, is that yes or no? She has to take down every word that everybody says.
Keep in mind,
When
though,
you say,
the reason Rocky was
it's not
like,
clear
"What
what
now,
you mean.
pussy?"
So that's why I'm
You
saying
heard
yes.
Relly
It's so
had to
important.
take a mess about him not helping the ego of their mutual friend, when in fact Rocky did. Rocky did provide that person from LA who went to be good.
As best you can, if you can take yourself back to that moment, as you're walking up towards it, were you expecting to get in a physical fight with him?
I mean, at that moment, the way before then, no, I thought maybe we were gonna talk. Or even when he did bring them, I thought maybe he was bringing them to like make a statement or something to like let them think that he's like tough or something. I don't know. That's what I kind of thought like after.
No, I'm not talking about Hills or 12. I'm just talking about the defendant.
Okay.
Were you approaching him of the state of mind that you were going to have a physical fight with him?
No, I the whole time, to be honest, I would never fight Rocky. And that's God's honest truth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a reason to fight them. We're in an industry where you get blackballed really easy. I'm obviously on the lower end of the stick here. You know what I'm saying? So,
True.
that's why in the video, you notice I'm a lefty. I pushed him away with my left. He grabbed me with two hands. If I wanted to fight him, and mind you, we're walking. If I wanted to fight him, I would have hit him with the right. You get what I'm saying? And we would have been fighting. Like, I stopped him with my left. And in the video, that's when you see Elijah, like, kind of like breaking it up after.
Before we talk about the video, we'll get there. I want, if there's any other way that you can explain that to the jury, what it would mean for you to get in a physical fight, specifically with the defendant, at that moment.
The only thing that would make me fight Rocky is if I'm physically like hurt, like if he punched me. Then I would consider hitting him a fight. But I would give him, just because who he is, like I wouldn't, and I think he uses that to like his benefits or like whoever famous that whoever that shit is. But I wasn't gonna fight him.
What would it mean? What would it mean for your career if you got in a physical fight?
Oh, it would be over.
How so?
It would be over.
Can you
Literally
explain
over.
that?
You don't have a career.
Was that in your head?
I'm like part of a conglomerate of a group. So if I fight Rocky and I beat him up or we fight or something, I'm already not liked and people don't like me and shit like that. So I'm fighting him. I'm definitely getting blackballed and all the labels like him, work with him and do this, you know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to swim my way in, you know what I mean? So if that comes to like light that we fought or something like that, I'm pretty sure it won't go good. Like nobody would do business with me or other things like that, you know what I mean?
Okay. I want to ask you just about a couple things you just said in your answer. You mentioned ASAP in that.
Mm.
Was the defendant kind of the most successful member of ASAP at that point?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
By far?
By far.
Would he have been kind of the leader
Is it-
of ASAP, even if not formally? Would he
I wouldn't call him the leader, but
Both hands out at the same time. Ask the
Yes.
question again.
Would other members of ASAP kind of turn to him when they have projects or things like
not too many people. It wasn't real motion. Like then, it was pretty much whatever Rocky got going on. Like people would try things, but it kind of got to like what Rocky's doing, like stuff like that.
that? Okay. I mean, what I hear is you're saying he was like really the only highly successful member.
No, because then you got Jabari, that creep through the doors, through his big home. You know what I mean? You got Ferg, who did music, but everybody else, good luck.
Okay.
And I mean, good
Including
luck.
yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely counting out.
Let's take a break.
Live-
Folks, we'll take 15 minutes. Please be outside the courtroom doors at 3:15, at which time we will resume. And please don't discuss the case.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you the value of what we just heard here. So I can't tell. I don't know if you guys could hear. Okay, 15-minute break. Let me tell you the importance of what we just heard. Ooh, see, I think the prosecution likely thought that what they just heard was helpful to them, but I can see now how the defense will likely twist it. So one of the key things really says just now is he said that he would never want to get in a fight with Rocky because if he were to do so, it would effectively blackball him from the industry because he doesn't have as much motion as Rocky. And therefore, getting into it with Rocky would effectively allow Rocky to go and tell places, don't work with Relly effectively, is what he's saying is it would impact him negatively to get in a fight and his career would be over. That's what he said. Now, isn't that the perfect motive to then turn around and file the $30 million civil lawsuit that he has filed, or however many millions? In other words, he's saying, I would never want to get in a physical altercation with ASAP Rocky because it would end my career. But since that did in fact happen, it's like, oh, well, that happened. Now my only choice, I got to go get as many millions as possible because now my career is over. That sounds like a motive to lie, doesn't it? What do you think in the chat? That sounds like the perfect motive to lie. Keep in mind, part of the key information was that Relly did not immediately go to the police after ASAP allegedly pow-powed him and grazed his knuckle. Instead, 2 days later, he filed a police report, but only after consulting with a civil attorney on bringing a lawsuit. And that attorney told him, I'm willing to represent you, but only if first you file a police report. If you don't file a police report, I can't represent you. So what does Relly do then within 2 days of this incident? Files a police report. Mind you, he files the police report before he ever goes to the hospital for this allegedly debilitating hand injury. In addition, keep in mind, after the confrontation with the pow-pow that allegedly grazed his knuckles, he don't run in the opposite direction of ASAP. He runs towards him. He follows him down the street. ASAP's lawyers argue he follows him up the street because he knows it's simply a prop gun. And therefore anybody with any sense would never follow someone that they thought had an active pow-pow. Well, I think we're beginning to see, guys, a bit more of why ASAP may not have taken that deal. Let's see what other questions we got in the chat. Anything else? Yep, I bet just said, really, hands look fine to me. And she said, they look fine to me. Agreed. I'm going to drop the chat in case anyone wants to. There, if you want to chime in with a question while we're waiting for them to come back, because they never seem to come back on time, you can. You don't have to show your face. You just, in the background, I have to be able to confirm you. So there's the link. I just dropped it. If you would like to call in, you don't have to show your face. You can turn your camera off. Linda said, if someone tried to shoot me, I'd run in the opposite direction. I think so would everybody else with common sense. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Amy. Amy says, I can't believe this case made it to trial. You about to have me on my little soapbox. Since we got 13 more minutes, why not? Y'all, to me, as an attorney that's been practicing for almost 20 years, this to me looks like what happens when you do not have DEI, when you do not have diversity, equity, and inclusion. And here's why I say that. When you have defendants that are of different ethnicities, we have different vernacular, we have different air quote street code, we tell a story in a different way. Now, here, surprisingly, there was not a single Black juror, and more significantly, of the jury pool, only 5, it was either 5 or 7 Black people were even there, period, which was this other situation. You can't tell me everything is equal when you've got a jury pool that has only 7 Blacks out of 100. Give me a break. Give me a break. More than that, when I say the diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think Black prosecutors who grew up in Black neighborhoods would have never brought this, because we see what it is for what it is. The money grab. We know that when you're from the hood, when you're from Harlem, where these guys are from, if someone really does pow you with a gun, you don't chase after them on foot with no weapon. We know a stick up when we see it. And they had, this has been going on for 4 years. This happened in 2021. They have had 4 years to get to these facts and make sense out of them. And they don't want to. I think it's more important for them to have a conviction for this celebrity than to get true justice. Because the truth of the matter is, I can't tell you when I've heard of a case where someone was grazed and the grazing looked anything like what was shown. Let's see if I can get a picture of it to put up on the screen. Hold on. Let me see. It was photo grazed knuckles. ASAP rally. Let's see. Got him, coach. This is just beyond goofy. Hold on, I'm getting it for you. Alrighty. Here you go. Make it bigger. This is it, y'all. Come look at this. Look at this, y'all. You know when I say come look at this, it's about to be something stupid. Every time. Come look at this. Come look. That is the injury. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it looks like a bullet grazed the knuckles. Put a 2 if you think it looks like somebody who got in a fight and punched somebody. Because remember, part of what we're seeing is that in the video footage that they put up is that Relly gets in a fight with one of the other guys, punches him, the guy goes down, the 2 exchange more blows, and then one of those guys gets up. Does this look consistent with a punch, especially a punch when somebody gets knocked to the ground, or with the grazing of a bullet? I feel like a bullet grazing would be more of a tear. That literally looks like punching and, punching someone and dealing with someone who fell to the ground. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. Let me see if I can make it bigger. I mean, this is just stupid. This was really goofy, y'all. Here we go. Yay. Can I make it a little bigger? Oh, got him. Got him, coach. Here we go. Absolutely does not, to me. That's not. Oh, Abita says, I don't know. She doesn't know if a punch could do all that now. Yeah, it looks like scraped knuckles to me. Atasham said, looks like he fell outside and scraped his knuckles. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if he was one of the guys that fell down, but that to me absolutely looks like scraped knuckles from scrapping. That's a bullet graze. No, put down number 2. I asked if number 1, put a 1 in the chat if you think it looks like a bullet grazed him, and put a 2 if you think it looks like a fight. Cop Animate said, now who gonna tell the DA to dismiss this case? See, I think this is what happened. There are not enough diverse people on whatever legal team saying, yeah, this is a good idea. This is a good idea. Kept said, this is goofy. Remember, so part of why the prosecution is so mad right now is because they did not find out until the eve of trial that the defense was going to be that it was a prop gun. The question becomes, who cares? What does it matter? Y'all were convinced it was a gun. Now, what I'm not sure about yet is I was assuming that Rocky turned over the prop gun, because Lord knows I would have. But I'm going to assume that perhaps that he did not, because that would have allowed them to know that it was a prop gun. So the question becomes, well, where is it? Where is the prop gun? Now, we don't know. Were they never asked to turn it over? I doubt it. I highly doubt that. I'm pretty sure they would have been asked to turn it over. So if it would have been turned over, I'm assuming they would have known. But at the same time, there were a number of, here, let me put my big face back on the screen. There were a number of gun pow-pows that were collected from Rocky's house. And that could have been one of the many pow-pows collected, in which case they wouldn't have needed to separately turn over anything. This is just, so this, ladies and gentlemen, is likely why he said no to the deal. But also remember, even though that deal, he likely would have been in prison for under a month, the main impact is he would not have been able to be the chair of the Met Gala this May, which is what he's going to do. He would have been on probation for 3 years and had a 7-year probated sentence, which meant he likely could not have completed. He's currently supposed to be in a Spike Lee movie with Denzel Washington that's going to be coming out, and he likely would not have been able to either finish that movie or travel to promote it. Because remember, when you're on probation, you're often not allowed to leave the city, the county, or even your state, and you have to ask permission to do so every time that you do. So chances are, he said, no, number 1, I didn't do it. And number 2, I can't take any type of plea that gives me, gives the risk, because the actual amount of time would have been 180 days. Now, doing the calculations of good time and how things work in LA County, that's what tells me he likely would have done under a month. Most people in LA County do about 10% of the time. But even if it was a third would have been 2 months. He may have felt he simply could not afford the restrictions of probation, considering all the different opportunities that he has. Great question. Tiffany says, what happens to the civil case when Rocky wins? Well, most civil lawyers would dismiss it. Remember, this civil case is not one where insurance or an insurance adjuster would come into play. And that is because they can't file this on his auto insurance or homeowner's insurance. It didn't happen in a car. It didn't happen at his house. And it was a deliberate act if it occurred at all, right? That kind of deliberate crime act is not covered. Let's see. And it can't be combined with something that would be considered negligence to get coverage, like with Cassie's case. It says, maybe Rihanna could save the day. Maybe she could. Linda said, this fingers look like they were in a fight. Oop. Did the police ever go back to the crime scene? They sure did. They went back immediately. When 911 was called. The police were there. Why do you ask, brown-eyed girl? That was actually a significant part, because the way in which the police got the so-called gun casings was that about 2 hours after the incident, instead of calling the police, Relly went back to the scene, according to him, and was looking around, and woo, he found 2 gunshot casings. And 2 days later, after his civil lawyer told him to make a police report, not only does he make the police report, but he hands him the casings. Here you go, officer. I found my own gun casings. Go figure. Yeah. So that's allegedly what happened. I think the jury is going to have a lot of difficulty believing that rather than calling the police himself or going straight to the hospital, the victim himself chose to return to the scene without the assistance of police or any other kind of protection and hunt around in the dark for gunshot casings. Okie dokie. And then file a $30 million lawsuit. For the jury, if me as a juror, the fact that you have that civil lawsuit for all that money pending, and it could be revealed to the jury that your lawyer said they weren't going to take your civil case unless you filed a police report. For me as a juror, that's all I need to know to feel comfortable with motive. And you got to get out of here. I'm not taking your case. Let me see. MD said, I thought the cop looked familiar. I saw in Law and Crime. It was Erica's son. It sure was. So Erica must have had a few different husbands. Yes, Erica Jane from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The store 61. Hi. When you make a fist, all your knuckles are at the same level unless the bullet turned when it got to each knuckle. You can't make that injury. Ooh. I like that logic. Okay, let me say. You're right. So I'm making a fist here. All my knuckles are lined up. So how would it be that these 2 knuckles, yeah, literally fist, just like this, pile, pile. How would it be that these first 2 get grazed, but not these 2? I see that's the kind of thing that the jury in the back, when they're deciding things, they talk about that, they reenact it. They would be like, yeah, so this would be here, and what you know what happened? Nobody believes that. Monique says, and that's why I said this was all a scheme that Todd set up to come to us with his bull. Thanks, guys. And don't forget, guys, you can get my book and go to SimoneRedwine.com to get my book, Background Checks 101, Beginner's Guide to Discovering Who the Heck You're Dealing With. You can also come there to schedule a consultation with me. They start at just $149 for 30 minutes, and I do help with matters across America. Can Rocky counter the civil suit? I guess it would be like with malicious prosecution. Perhaps, yeah, it wouldn't be with defamation, but it could be with malicious prosecution. He could certainly try, but he would have to, I think, to really have a stronger claim there, he would need to be able to show, well, no, he might be able to have the proof to show, but to show that it was basically like an extortion attempt. There are text messages that are going to come out in this case where allegedly Relly says things like, I'm about to get paid, I'm about to get rich, I'm about to go after this man for some money, things like that. With friends like ASAP, who really needs enemies. MD, really? He said that. Let me see. His fingers look like they were in a fight. That was funny. Hit that like, guys. Is there any other? There were some more questions I wanted to make sure that I answered when I could. All right. All right, Doreen says, hey, Simone, thanks for showing Rocky's court trial. I think Rocky will win this trial. Hopefully, Rocky will learn something after this costly mess. That is right. Oh, she must have been on that show. See, I've never watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So the fact that, yeah, her son is that old, he looked like he could probably be like 28, but then I guess she's a lot older than I thought. Somebody said, that's really strange. If I felt I was being shot at, I would have called 911. Me too. And not run after my assailant. We are not both going this way. When I know they have a pow pow and I don't, why would I run after you? Oops, Doreen said Relly's fingers are a joke, just like him. Cup Animate says, if I'm a juror, I check out the minute Relly takes the stand. He looks like a fool. Since this incident, Rocky has been a quiet family man. Rocky would be wasting his time countering Relly is broke. Clearly, that is why he's doing all this. Now, I do believe that. I can't wait to see when we come back from this break, which should be any moment now. I anticipate that ASAP's attorneys on cross-examine are going to tear into the fact that Relly admits if he gets in a fight with ASAP, his career is over. What better way to get revenge on ASAP would then be to sue him for money due to the fact that they got into a fight? Because how else is he going to be able to make money if he is now blackballed? It ain't rocket science. Hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button. You're getting both coverage and a little breakdown. It says, Rocky was better off paying Relly off. I don't feel good about this trial. I think the challenge is, once I heard that Relly's attorneys were Camila from the Johnny Depp trial, Camila probably has a minimal dollar amount that was in the millions where she said, not even gonna take this if I can't get at least this. I'm gonna guess it's around 3 to 5 million. And for ASAP, he probably thought, I don't have it. 2, I shouldn't have to pay it. That's the kind of money. If I have to cut you a check for $3 million, you need to go to heaven. You need to go to heaven. Because one, you've extorted me, and now you're a bad person, and you need to go to heaven. You'll go up to the gates. They won't let you in. You're going to go back down to hell. But you don't need to breathe anymore. No breaths for you. That's how I see it. If you pay him, he would have come back. Well, you can execute an agreement that says, I'm paying you for this. You're dropping these charges. You're going to cooperate. You're going to tell the police officers that you are also seeking to drop the criminal charges. You can, in fact, do all that. But yeah, if that's your injury, these little bloody knuckles here because you lost a fight, you need to go to hell. You need to go fast too. Don't go slow. Don't take a train. I need you to take one of those bullet trains if you're going to take a train. You need to go to hell really quickly. Yeah. Brown Eyed Girl said, I'm not giving you nothing in the millions. I can also see why he would want millions, because he feels he's been blackballed and won't be able to come back into it. So, back on the stand is ASAP Relly. ASAP Relly is testifying. ASAP Relly is testifying.
This is already been marked.
This talks about how
I want to go back.
he knows that he would have
So Mr. Efron, you already identified this as being your call log or your missed calls that you received that day while you were sleeping, correct?
Yeah.
And the numbers that you were referring to, the first one you said was the defendant, correct?
Yes.
And then you said Ills called you, correct?
Yes.
And then 12 you have, his name is 12 Sorting.
Yes.
Okay. And then the text messages that you received, you said these text messages were also from the defendant, correct?
Yes.
And specifically those 3 at the top, WIA, which you read as where are you at, correct?
Yes.
And then let's get to it, stop ducking my calls. I just want to display those because we redacted the name at the top, so they do not be displayed. Okay. I had asked you before how you traveled to Los Angeles, you said you took a commercial Delta flight, correct?
Yeah.
Did you bring any
Yes.
weapons with you when you took that flight to Los Angeles?
No,
Specifically, did you bring a handgun with you?
no.
All right, right before we broke, you were talking about what it would mean for your career, or as you understood what it would mean for your career if you got into a physical fight or physically attacked the defendant. And you talked about ASAP already, but in your earlier answer, you said there would also be a consequence with record labels. Is that correct?
Yes.
What can you explain that just in more detail for the jury so they understand what you're talking about?
I mean, I wouldn't know if there would be direct consequences, like, but I'm pretty sure it would be out there that we fought and people would just pick sides. Like right now, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, he's famous. I'm nobody, pretty much.
Have you had meetings with record labels before this incident?
Oh, yeah.
And since this incident, have you continued to have meetings with record labels?
No, the moment it became public, everything changed.
How so?
I mean,
Use your words.
like everything changed, and people knew it was me that pressed charges against Rodney. So everybody looked at me like I'm doing the pressing charges.
And did some of the deals that you had set up, did those go away?
Oh yeah, I had to like pretty much vacate my label and everything because my artists they no longer wanted to work with me because of the decisions I chose to make. So yeah.
So not only the record labels that you were meeting with, but also the artists who you were managing no longer wanted to work with.
Yeah, because they felt like many different reasons, but one, they felt like I don't have no credibility no more. One, and two, I'm getting labeled as, I guess, a snitch or something like that, you know?
Okay. Now, those are real consequences that have happened to you since this incident. But did you have it in your mind before you met with him at the parking lot that something like that would happen if you got into a physical fight?
Wait, say that again?
Yeah, did you know going into this incident that if you got into a physical fight that it would likely be the end of your music career?
Yeah, that's why I want to fight properly.
As you were walking to the street where you ultimately linked up with him, did you have any weapons?
No.
Did you have any handguns?
No.
Did you have any knives, folding knives, anything?
No, sure.
I'm gonna mark the next the 15. And equals 15 is an extreme hard drive or what they call thumb drive. Containing surveillance fluid. There is on one of the surveillance videos, but it's not spoken word. Usually noise. Yeah.
Dave has asked, do we know if Rocky will take the stand? And the answer is they don't ever make that decision until the very end.
Yes.
So we don't know till the end.
Okay, and Your Honor, just so the record is clear, we mark this as match 15?
The thumb drive,
Yes.
15.
On equals 15, it's the file that I'm playing is doing a sequence surveillance video. Yes, sir, that's right. I'm going to play just a few seconds of this video and I'll ask you some questions.
Mm. Oh, dang. Okay. There goes Rocky with the pow pow. No question about it. It's a pow pow.
And just stopping that. That's that 30 seconds on the video player. Did you recognize the what was captured on that video in those 30 seconds? Did you recognize what we saw there?
Yeah.
And did you specifically recognize that to be the first incident that happened when you first linked up with the
Yes.
Linked up. No, this he said linked up. He's using the Urban Dictionary vocab now.
Did you recognize yourself in that video?
Yes.
Okay, and from the beginning, I'll stop it. Okay. I think I stopped it at 6 seconds, if I can read that from here. The first person that we saw walking down the sidewalk on the street, who was that?
Wait, the
You
person
want me to
that
play it again?
the person that I seen?
Yes.
Yeah, that was right.
No, the first person that we saw coming down.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll play it forward a little bit from here. And pause it at 11 seconds on the video. Now, the second person that we see in the screen looks like they're, physically right in front of you. Who is that? And when you first approached him, can you describe what happened in your own words? Whether we saw it in the video or not, just in your own words, describe what happened.
So when he came up to me, like from the video from what I can see, because you can see I'm trapped on it was like 3 years ago. And then put up another video. But I was stopping a little. Like you see, I was stopping a little. Like I said, I'm lefty. I'm righty. Stopping with my left, trying to like back him up.
You
know what I
literally
mean?
said before you were left.
And then
Let me stop you for 1 second. That interaction that we see, would that have been right after he said, I don't remember what your exact words were, but
what's up now, pussy?
what's up now, pussy?
Probably like 10 seconds later. We're still walking.
Okay. And Could you see his face as he was walking towards you?
Yeah.
How did he look?
Oh, angry.
So could you tell as he was approaching you that you were headed for a physical confrontation with him?
His hands wasn't up. It was more so walking. So then when we got to each other, he initiated. He like tried to like grab me or try to like grab me by my collar. That's why you see like that, and I like grab him off. You know what I mean?
So
Oh.
as best you can remember,
Beauty.
he was the first one who grabbed you by the collar,
Then he grabbed me by my collar.
and then you raised which of your hands to
My left.
your left hand to separate.
Yeah.
Okay. And as he grabbed the collar of your sweatshirt, what did he do?
He was just trying to tug at me and like talking and going back and forth. And then Elijah, everything happened so fast. And then Elijah gets in the middle.
Okay. When you say he's talking at you, do you remember anything that he said?
Like I said, I think it was 3 years ago. But I could see what I said. Hopefully, if I can say something I don't really vaguely remember.
That's fair. But so as you sit here right now, today, 3 years later, you don't specifically remember the words he said. Is that what you're saying?
Not the words so much. So I feel like towards the ending when the gun came out, I remember that. I
Okay.
remember the words that came out when the gun came out.
As best we can, I'd like to go through it step by step. So when he first approaches you, you're saying he's saying words, but you can't remember the words. Do you remember the tone that he had said these words with?
Oh, at that point, like, we pretty much gave me a fight. Like, he's saying what he's trying to get, I don't know.
I mean, did he sound angry to you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Were you saying anything back to him?
Yeah,
Do you, what,
I don't remember.
You don't remember your words. Do you remember your tone?
I was angry because he touched me. I was just like, fuck with me or fight with me. But then, mind you, the gun came out seconds later, so then my tone got really angry after. Because, what the fuck you got a gun for? And that's what I said.
Okay, so you kind of move forward. You remember being angry because he's tugging at your sweatshirt. Then he had a gun in his hand. Did you see where the gun came from?
Came from his waistline.
Okay, so
Came from his waistline.
This might be clear to everybody except me, but can you have Mr. Efron identify on screen?
yes, please.
For the record, he's holding on the left side.
You have a sweatshirt with some type of graphic on it?
You're at some photographs of his clothing. I have three photographs. Can I just staple them and collectively mark them? 16.
16A through C.
Okay. I'm going to show you 16A. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Is that the same hoodie that you were wearing that day?
Yes, it is.
And is that the back of the hoodie?
Yes.
Oh, Monique, you
And
got a
then
point.
16B,
Yeah.
you recognize that?
Yes, in front of my hoodie.
Same one you were wearing that day?
Yes.
And then 16C,
Yes, my sweatpants.
same one you were wearing that day?
Yes.
Okay. So your sweatshirt or hoodie had that graphic on the back.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Let's go back to the video. If I can remember where we left off. So you. Video.
Hit that like button, guys. I should call him Relly Judas. Yeah, Relly is to the.
So you're saying that you were upset that he grabbed
Relly
you
is tall.
by the collar, but then he produced the gun with his from his waistband, correct?
Yes,
Do you remember which hand he was holding the gun in? His left or his right?
probably is right.
Do you remember? Or?
No,
Okay, you just remember he had a gun in his hand.
I just remember that gun too.
Did you, and I don't mean the incident that you saw it, but throughout this incident, could you see the gun clearly?
Oh yeah.
Do you know the difference between a semi-automatic pistol and a revolver?
Yes.
What is the difference between those two to you?
One of them have a clip and the other one explode up bullets.
Do you, if I told you that a revolver had a wheel,
Right.
does that make sense to you?
Yes, it is.
And the gun that you saw him with, was it a semi-automatic, as you say, with a clip, or was it a revolver that has a wheel?
It's a semi-automatic with a clip.
Okay. Do you remember what color it was?
Black.
And do you remember anything else about it? Have you ever seen that gun before? Did you know the defendant to carry guns regularly?
Not really. I think one time he said I seen like on his wallet he had like a firearms in New York one time or something. I don't remember ever.
Y'all, this is ASAP Rally
knowing that
joining
physical
now.
knowledge.
The key witness.
Okay. I mean, like, did you personally see him with a gun on occasions before this?
No, he has a lot of security.
Okay. Did you, if someone said that the defendant was known to carry a prop gun or fake guns, would that have been knowledge that you personally had?
No, you don't carry big guns. I mean, you know, prop guns?
Yes.
No,
You never knew him to carry a prop.
no.
Carrie, you silly.
Did you ever know him to have any guns? And I don't mean, now I want to kind of broaden it. So not that he would carry in public, but guns that he would have either at his house or anywhere else.
Not to my knowledge. I never physically seen any guns on Roger.
Okay. Except for
That night.
that day when
Yeah, that night.
Okay. Now, from what we see on the video, the two of you moved off screen off the video. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And when the two of you move off of the screen, is that where he first pulled the gun out of his waistband?
Yeah.
What was the first thing that you saw him do with the gun?
Oh, he pointed at me, and then that's when Elijah was like in between, and he's like, "I'll kill you right now, pussy," or like whatever. Like just was, and then I'm right behind Elijah, and I'm saying, "If you brought a gun, use it then."
Oh.
Like the fuck you brought a gun for, pussy?
Okay.
That's the words I was saying to him.
When you said he pointed at you, where on your body was he pointing?
Like towards my stomach, like towards like my headish a little. Like everything was happening so fast. You know what I mean?
And from what you're describing, was it moving?
Yeah, it was moving. He had it up.
Okay, so he didn't just hold it at your stomach. It was kind of
No, he was looking for a spot to shoot.
Okay.
If Elijah wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened.
And you said as he was pointing it at you, what did he say?
I'll kill you right now.
And was that in an angry tone?
Yeah, he was livid.
Was his voice elevated? Like, was he yelling this at you, or was this something
Yeah.
he was saying quietly?
Yeah, but he was yelling back and forth at this point.
All right. And you said that after he pointed the gun at you, you became angry, correct?
Yeah, I became furious.
So what did you say back to him?
I told him to use it.
Why
Not
did you?
Because mentally, like, I couldn't believe he just pulled the gun out on me. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you better use that shit. What you got a gun for?
Can you explain? I want, as best you can to the jury, explain to them what you mean by I can't believe you just pulled a gun. What is that? What do you mean by that?
Like I physically cannot believe there was a gun in my face. Like that was the breaking point for me because like what I said, I told this kid numerous times, if you have a problem with me, let me know. You know what I mean? I feel like this got to the max. Like this was like no return. So if I was willing to die for my respect at this point, I don't care. You get what I'm saying? Like if this is what you want to do, I still have my dignity. That's how I felt.
You're saying, I can't believe he did this to me though. Did you ever think that he would actually shoot you?
At that point, I don't know. Like I said, I was just so mad. I seen the gun. I didn't care.
And so when you told him something to the effect of to shoot you, I mean, did you have a death wish at that moment? Did you want him to actually shoot you?
Oh, of course not.
So why did you say that to him?
Because I was just so mad. I seen this man just pull a gun out. You know what I mean? Like I was furious. Like, what the fuck is a gun? What are you doing with a gun?
Were you mad because specifically it was the defendant? Or do you think you would have also been mad had this been, say, just a stranger?
What do you mean?
So if a stranger had pulled a gun on you the same way that he did, how do you think you would feel?
Oh, I would try to run. I would try to like, if a regular person pulled a gun out on me,
Yes.
I'd probably be dead. I don't know. I'd probably run, probably get shot.
Do you think you'd respond the same way and said, shoot me?
No. Stranger? No.
You think you'd be scared in that scenario?
Only reason why I said that is because I know Rocky. I know him. You know what I mean? So I felt at the moment that was the right thing to do. Especially, it goes back to Mr. 6 and man. I'm not going to let you feel like you come around and do what the fuck you want. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not about to pull a gun out on me. It's not happening. I mean, you already did, but I'm going to let you know in front of your two little minions you brought with you that, because I'm pretty sure they would have ran back to his crib and told everybody else, oh, I just pulled in a gun on Relly or did this. Like, no. If they're going to go back to his house, they're going to say, Relly stood up for himself. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes, thank you. So I believe you said that Ills was the one who got between you, correct?
Say what now?
Ills was the one that got between you and the defendant.
Yeah, yeah.
Play this forward a little bit. And I'm going to pause it here. I think we're at 14 seconds. That person that we see in the blue jacket, who's that?
That's Ills.
All right, and what is Ills doing at this point in the video?
He's breaking up. He's trying to de-escalate the situation.
Physically get between the two.
Yeah, physically. Yeah.
Right. I'll play it forward.
Yeah, defense is gonna eat him alive.
Now, I can go back if you need me to. I paused it at 23 seconds on this video. The very bottom left-hand corner, we saw someone with a red kind of jacket. You agree with that?
Yeah. Yes.
Who was that?
That's Jamal Toby.
Okay. What, if you remember, what was Welby doing during this interaction?
He was off to the side the whole time. He was not trying to like, everything happened so fast, like from what I could remember, he was just like looking. That's why I said, like, even after everything, like, I don't care if me, it was on talk, I still love the kid.
I know, Sexy Brown.
He put himself in between everything. You know what I mean? Now, 12, he was off on the side. He was just looking, like, and then when I guess he seen the ills into me, that's when he kind of intervened, but I don't think he would have did.
Okay. Is it fair to say that when you're having this interaction with the defendant, you're focused much more attention on him?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very far less so than whatever 12 is. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll just kind of play it through here. And I'll stop it where this video stops. So right at the end of that video, we saw someone, a part of their body, their lower part of their body, come back into the frame. Do you recognize who that was? I can go back if you need me to.
Yeah.
Just a few seconds. Okay, great, let's stop it right there. That is at 25 seconds on the video player there. That person that we can see, just the lower half of their body. Who's that?
That's Rocky.
Okay. And can you see the gun in his hand there?
Yeah.
That's the same gun he pointed at you?
Yeah.
What did he do with the gun after Bill separated the two?
He put it back away, but I think from what I remember that day, those people that walked by, they kind of like stopped everything because once he seen them, he kind of like, because I'm yelling, I'm literally yelling, and that was like, I feel like that was one of the ways that like I didn't get shot too, because I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. You know what I mean? I'm making a scene. You know what I mean? So once he seen like those people walk by, he put it away, and that's when he started like kind of walking away.
The people that we see walk by, they had nothing to do with.
No, that was just a couple of them. That was just a couple walking by. And I've briefly seen them up my peripheral.
Okay. So after he puts the gun back in his waistband, you said he walked away. Where did he go?
He was going down the same block that he came from.
Now, the landmark street that you know is Hollywood Boulevard. Was he walking towards Hollywood or
Argyle.
away?
I guess that's Argyle down.
He's walking down Argyle.
Yeah.
But away from Hollywood Boulevard? Or
Yeah, away
towards-
from Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay. 1 second. Do you remember the clothing that Hills was wearing at all?
And he had like a varsity on, and like had or something like that.
The varsity, was it a blue jacket?
Yeah. It was like a Stussy jacket, like a custom one.
Before I move on from this, at the first point where the defendant is pointing the gun at you, how far away from your body was the end of the gun?
Oh, it didn't even press up against me. Like,
Did it actually touch you?
I don't remember everything happening so fast.
But it was, if it wasn't actually touching you, it was very
It
close.
was very close. If anything, I'm pretty sure it probably touched it. That's how close it was.
Did you say to the defendant, put that fake gun away?
No.
Is that something that you would say?
Seriously, he made it up.
No, my bad. I said put that big gun away.
Or why, does that confuse you because you don't know him to actually carry a fake gun?
Just confusing me all around.
It's not just for fun, just for success, just for the miss.
The incident that we see as it's captured on the surveillance video, from the time that the two of you first come to each other to the time where he puts the gun away and walks away, is that the total amount of time that this incident took?
What do you mean?
Meaning, after you all walk off camera at the end of this clip, was there anything else that you remember that happened at the parking garage, or was that he just walked away?
Okay, so right after Elijah's still next to me, and I look off to the right, and I see Jamel putting like kind kind of kneeling down, which is 12, ASAP 12. I see him putting away a knife.
Oh.
So at this point, mentally, I'm already fucking furious, right? I see Jamel putting a knife away. So I'm like, what the fuck you got a knife for? That's exactly what I say. I see Jamel putting, what the fuck you got a knife for? Because I'm thinking this is okay, if me and Rocky got a problem, it's a white flag situation. The other two should not be interacting. If anything, they're gonna be de-escalating and breaking it up. So to my knowledge, I'm like, oh hell no. So now I'm walking with them. And I'm literally screaming out the top of my lungs down there on how Rocky failed us and how Jamel went on tour with Rocky for about 8 or 9 years. He's back in the projects. Not that it's his fault, but this is the type of things that occur. You know what I mean? You pull a blanket away and there's nothing there.
Okay.
Money.
And then I'm saying other things too. I'm just verbally expressing how I feel. You know what I mean? Because I know I will never see this dude again. You just pulled a gun out on me. You know what I mean? Like, I probably would have walked away if I didn't see Jamel with the knife. Because I'm still with Bills, like right here, kind of. But when I seen that, I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to talk whatever the fuck I want to say.
Okay, I'm going to ask you some follow-up questions on that. Break it down.
Okay.
From what you're describing, the additional interactions that you had with the parking garage were seen 12, correct? With the knife?
Oh, yeah.
But had the defendant, had Rocky walked away?
Say what?
Had Rocky walked away?
Everything was happening fast. So he was not quite far away. He was not even it's probably like a little bit from like where you at. And I'm sitting right here. In 12, he's probably like, everything's so close. You know what I mean? It was just still kind of like backing me off.
Approximating 15 feet.
Okay, so, but my point is, the video that we watched is almost exactly 30 seconds. From the time you guys come together to the time you walk off camera. Is that your recollection of maybe how long that interaction at the party garage took was 30 seconds?
With the whole incident right there?
Yes.
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
Unless I like look at the video timestamps and stuff like that.
Is it fair to say that it was quick?
Oh yeah, it was quick.
Okay. Then he went walking, you said, away from Hollywood Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
And he was about 15 feet away from you. The defendant was about 15 feet away, and that's when you saw 12B.
Yeah, his back was turned. He was like kind of walking already. 12B, no, Rocky. Rocky was kind of walking away already. It was just still next to me, like, because we just broke up the situation, and 12B was putting a knife away.
How close to you was 12B?
I wasn't, probably like about, if I was to skip, probably like 3 skips away, because after I said, what the fuck you got a knife for, 12B kind of walked a little faster to Rocky.
I've had a lot of people estimate using different things. I've never had anyone estimate the skips. How far do you think a skip is?
Because that's what I was thinking, because I was physically thinking, I was thinking about punching 12. You know what I mean? Like, what do you got to think?
But how close was he? That's what I'm
Agree.
trying to figure out.
The jury is
He
probably,
was-
why are we in?
About 3 or 4 skips away.
What does it get me? How far is a skip?
You know?
Judge don't even know.
No. How far is a
You
skip?
can point something in the court.
Like get to the middle of where that line is at, like not too,
Like here?
The judge said how?
Approximately
yeah, a little
7
more,
feet
yeah,
from
like right there.
The judge said
about
nothing.
7 to 8 feet.
Yeah,
All
a
right.
little further actually, because he's bending down, so I'm like, he's putting the knife away. So then when I see that, I'm like fuck, like.
Who counts on skill?
Let me stop you though. The knife specifically. What did the knife look like?
I don't know. I just seen it quick. Everything happened quick. I just seen him putting away the knife, and then he said it's not like that. He said no, it's not like that. And then he's walking towards Rocky.
What does putting a knife away mean to you? Like, is it a folding knife or he's
I
holding
guess it was a folding.
Okay, not like he's wearing a sheath and he's tucking it in his waist.
No.
All right. So he's folding the knife. He puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think he put it in his pocket. Kind of like as soon as he seen me, observed him putting the knife away, he kind of like put it away, kind of skirted off to Rocky, like towards Rocky.
All right. So if the defendant
Yeah,
was
I'm
the
mad.
first person to walk away,
I wanted to see
is
him skip.
12 the second person to walk after him?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And then
Courtroom.
you're standing with Ills.
Then I'm walking with Ills pretty much, and Ills is still telling me, yo, go, and I'm just letting them have
We need some
it.
black
Just
prosecutors
telling
in the
them
room. This case.
whatever I feel like. You know what I mean?
But you're kind of side by side with Ills.
Yeah, I'm side by side with Ills. Because that's why I was able to like grab him or whatever.
You used a couple terms in your answer before.
Watch out.
You
Oh, you
said
can open up
this
that
was
line.
like a white flag situation.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
meaning we're all ASAP members. So if one person has a problem with another, I'm not expecting anybody else to intervene, or like, you know what I mean? Other than like supporting the person they came with, which they did. They supported right. It was in LA for the couples.
Did you feel like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so this isn't how you felt. But did you feel like this whole situation, this whole link up, as you described it, was a setup?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think the other two, I think they were just, because Rocky had everybody in his house. I was looking on social media later, and I noticed everybody was in his house. So, and if he's flying them to LA, I'm pretty sure he's not getting them a hotel. So I'm pretty sure they're still in his house.
I didn't object, that was a question.
It was leading and it was also non-responsive. Let's take the break now, folks. But resume, remember, tomorrow's 10, not 10:30. So please be outside the courtroom doors as close to that time as possible. We will resume the district testimony. Go ahead and leave all your materials.
Lorene, why you cutting me, Ash?
Case, or yourself or anybody else. Please
Lorene,
don't
put it to
have anything in print media or electronic media. See you tomorrow.
Doreen said this man is ashy. Now he needs lotion and a rose. Doreen. All right, guys. Well there. Well, guys, that was day 2. Thank you so much, Zara. Thank you so much for the super chat. I have to tell you, okay, so that wraps up day 2 of the ASAP Rocky trial. Now, it's supposed to go allegedly 2 weeks. We will see. I can't say I'm going to cover all the days, but I'm definitely going to be back. Tomorrow is supposed to start at 10. I believe I'm going to definitely cover the rest of ASAP Relly's testimony. I'm interested in hearing his testimony. I'm interested in hearing the testimony of the defendants' witnesses, which are going to be, I believe, ASAP's manager, as well as one of the other 2 guys that was there with the melee that was there in this video. But basically what we learned from today is there was a person from 911 that called 911. Initially, she said she thought it was a pow because she heard it and she saw the guys fighting. But it wasn't until cross-examination that she said she saw a flash. I think they should have really honed down more on that, but they said that she saw a flash from the prop gun or whatever the weapon was. Now, I want to hear in cross-examination, I hope that one of ASAP Rocky's experts testifies that it was a prop gun, testifies to how prop guns can make noises that sound just like real ones, also testify to the fact that it can also make a flash, because we did pull up on Google and it did say that prop guns can make flashes as well. I want to show you guys. Ooh, that's not the one. Here we go. We also, while we were on break, this has not yet been admitted in court. On break, we did look over. These are ASAP Relly's injuries. This is allegedly when the gunshot grazed his knuckles, what it did to him. He now has a multi-million-dollar civil lawsuit that is pending against ASAP Rocky, in which he is being represented on a contingency fee basis by attorney Camille that represented Johnny Depp. By contingency, it means Camille only gets paid if he wins the civil suit. And it is important to note that his civil attorneys told him, hey, we won't represent you unless you make a police report. So the day of the alleged pow, when his knuckles were allegedly grazed by the gun, he did not go to the hospital that day.
He did not go to the hospital the second day. He did not go to the hospital until sometime after he retained lawyers subsequently. But also, he did not go to the police that day. He did not go the next day. It took him 2 days later for him to even report it to the police. And allegedly, he reported it to the police only because the civil attorneys told him they won't take his case civilly unless he makes a police report. These are the defense's allegations. Relly is going to have a chance to speak to that. But today on the stand, it seemed like to me the most important testimony he's given so far was where he testified that he had no intention of getting into a physical altercation with Rocky because he knew if he got into a physical altercation with Rocky, his career would be over because he would be blackballed. Well, to me, and then that actually happened. He talked about how he has in fact been blackballed since that date. And we now know he's going after Rocky in civil court. So it really seems to be going towards the motive for pursuing criminal charges is because what he really wants is to get to the money because he feels blackballed. So that's kind of the summary. Let me see if there's any other questions that we had today that I have not. One of the questions is, I don't know whether or not the prop gun has been turned over to the police, but it would be great evidence to certainly support the case. Is this really how one dresses for court? That was a good one. No, let me tell you something. What you don't do for court is wear activewear. The problem is when you show up to court too comfortably, it makes it look like you're here all the time. You just out here breaking laws and such. No. Carrie asked a great question. Did they run after ASAP pop out? Because supposedly Relly was beating up one of the other guys, and to stop him from beating up the other guys, to basically scare him and stop the fight, was why ASAP pulled the prop gun, like making those warning shots to be as in, because if you're in a fight and you hear gunshots, what do? You stop and you run. Well, Carrie, when you say, did they run after you guys? They did, but here's the problem. Relly allegedly got pow-powed by ASAP, but Relly, with no gun, runs after ASAP. That further supports the defense's argument that Relly, number one, knew it was a prop gun, and number two, was not in fear of anything and was not actually shot at, because who in the world gets shot at 3 times is what he claimed, or 2 times, and then runs after the person that shot you with no gun. You have no gun. You know that person has one, but yet you're running after them. Says no sane person ever in life. Let's see the rest of these questions. Yep. Attachment said, I didn't know he didn't go to the hospital. He's not telling the truth. Yeah, they're going to get him. That's an old Band-Aid. Question. Is there a time limit for how long they can keep witnesses on the stand? They break it up into different days. There's a time limit. Basically, the court's not going to let you abuse. They're not going to let you overdo it. So, but no, I don't believe there's not a strict time limit. Brandon said, give that man a Band-Aid and call it a day. Thank you. Thank you, Lizzie. White Shark did it funny. Yeah, she said, I know the judge is over it. The judge is ready to go. His chambers is ready to bust out laughing. Wait, Beauty is Me said, I got that scrape on my knees at 5 years old. Put a Band-Aid on it and kept it moving. Yeah, no, he did not go to the hospital. Who needs expert testimony about the prop gun? Oh, well, I think it may not be clear to everyone. So we had an actual discussion in the chat. People were going back and forth the other day because many people believe that prop guns don't make noises. I personally said earlier today, I didn't think prop guns made a flash, but I made a quick little Google search and saw that. Well, jurors are not allowed to do Google searches. And what I do believe is when it comes to stuff like the core of your argument, that you probably need someone to take the stand and answer any and all potential questions that the jurors will have, because jurors are not allowed to Google anything. If you haven't made it clear, they're going to find against you. He's mad Rocky blew up and left them in the hood. Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. Uh-huh. I should write that beauty is me. We all have that same scar on our knee. I know I got me one, which is why he wasn't scared. She says, look at Brandon's true. Yep. Sounds like a money grab. And that's what the defense is saying. So the defense is saying, hey, if Rocky would have just given Relly the $30 million he's currently asking for, we wouldn't be here. Now, we all know that to be true. That is absolutely true. For $30 million, we would never hear from Relly. Relly might move to the Dominican Republic and disappear like Tupac, Cuba, wherever else. That would be that. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Check me out tomorrow, your legal bestie. And later tonight, I should be on Court of Public Opinion. Later tonight, I am just tired and I need to get me some dinner. But if I do that, Court of Opinion will be at 8:30 tonight, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Y'all have a great evening. Bye.